Good evening, folks. This is Deb. I am on the mend. I'm getting there. Although I do wish my head would clear up. I really do, because then I could stop coughing. But be that as it may, I gave you my information last night and my position on the CBA in the women's game. Okay, and look, I keep getting this commentary that the women can't expect to earn what the men are earning because the NBA's making so much money. Well, okay, but the NBA was paying their players better back in the 50s and the 60s, and they're paying the women today. Okay, when their revenue was nowhere, they were sharing what they had at 40% with their players, and then went up to 50%. The women are getting 10% now. Okay, that's unconscionable. I don't care who you are or what you think you know. Okay, I have given you articles to read. Read them. At no point in the NBA's history have they ever paid the men as poorly as they are paying the women today. Okay? At no point in its history. And let me remind everyone again out there who continues to not want to hear this. The men bled $1.4 billion before turning the corner to profitability. 1.4 billion with a B. Billion. So plenty of investment was made in the men. Plenty. Somehow the women don't deserve that. And again, I've had some commentary about how the WNBA, the women who are negotiating are the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst, because perhaps they should go into these negotiations with their tails tucked between their legs and beg for money. You do not go into a den full of vipers with your tail tucked between your legs, acting like the proper little woman. Get off it, okay? They are in there every day. They know what they're doing. You are sitting outside being critical without actually offering any proof that they are not doing a good job of this. At this point, regardless of who is bringing in this kind of money, and we all know Caitlin Clark is attached to this, the reason the NBA wanted to own the WNBA was because they saw the payout value at the end of the rainbow. They saw the little pot of gold. They know this is a growing market. They know that women's sports is in a boom right now. And they know that the WNBA boasts Caitlin Clark. And they are not stupid. And neither should the women be stupid. You don't go in a position of weakness. Ever in a union negotiation. So, then we get into some discussion about why doesn't Larry Bird buy the Indiana Fever? The Indiana Fever is light years ahead of many of the other organizations out there. They are light years ahead of some of the other teams out there in their treatment of their players. There is not one person on the Indiana Fever that doesn't want to be on the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever has committed to being the epicenter of women's sports. They are building a 108 square foot facility dedicated to women athletes. Okay? A training center. A practice facility with 2 basketball courts, 2 full-size interior inside basketball courts, 1 outside full-size basketball court. That's 3 basketball courts. An elite weight room, space for yoga and Pilates, full-service kitchen, okay? Massage room, infrared light therapy, sauna, steam room. daycare facilities, heat studios, a float tank, multiple hydrotherapy pools, outdoor courtyard, I said that already, mental performance spaces, a hair and nail salon, and a production studio for podcasting. Why? Because it's good public relations. That's why. It's good public relations for the women's sport. That's why. Many people are doing it now. Aaliyah Boston has a podcast. Why not have it? Why not have the facilities right there where you are? This is not the 60s. This is the 21st century, and this is how the word gets out. And it doesn't matter what sport it is. And by the way, if we're going to talk about being critical about hair and nail salons, there are college basketball teams who have full barbershops with beauty treatments in their facilities right now. So let's not even go there, okay? This practice facility will be connected to Cambridge Fieldhouse. All right? In the renderings of the facility, there are 3 player photos: Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell. They consider them the core of the team. Okay? They understand the value of Caitlin Clark, no matter what you think. I don't know where you're getting your information on this, but Caitlin Clark doesn't want to play for anybody but the Indiana Fever. She doesn't. You have heard it time and time again. She is not miserable here. You are spending too much time listening to bullshit. Listen to Caitlin Clark. Okay? Here's something else. This is from an article. Okay? Now, so let's talk about, you know, the record season that the Indiana Fever had in Caitlin Clark's rookie season. Okay? This is a line from the article. After a record season, the Fever did not choose to run it back. They made significant changes. They don't want to waste any time with Clark, a generational talent and polarizing player. Okay? She generates so much attention, good and bad. And you know, there is an actual video out there about Caitlin Clark talking about this, that this is not new for players like her, that she was brought up to understand, to tune that out, that she doesn't get her confidence in herself from what other people think of her. She gets that from within. She knows how much time she's put in. She knows how much work she's put in. She knows what she's capable of, and she has confidence in her skills. Okay? Players like Caitlin Clark are going to generate a ton of love and a ton of jealousy. And that is the human condition, unfortunately. And there is nothing you can do to stop that. There is nothing any organization can do to stop that. There is nothing any organization can do to prevent a player from receiving that. Caitlin Clark sees the big picture. She's an adult. She's sometimes, I swear to God, the only adult in the room who has a perspective on this and who can put it away and focus on her game and her life. Unlike some of her fans who continually talk about this need to protect her like she's some little waif. She can run circles around these people. She's not the least bit worried about it. You're worried about it. Why don't you lighten up and enjoy her instead of angsting over everything about her? So it goes without saying that Herb Simon, who owns the Indiana Fever and the Indiana Pacers, and we talked about that in last night's video, okay, is actually not a bad guy. He's not a bad owner. He doesn't meddle. Okay? He supports the Indiana Fever organization becoming the epicenter of women's sports. He wants to build all of this stuff in Indianapolis so they can attract the best players. This is what this is all about. They don't need to sell the Indiana Fever. On the other hand, the Connecticut Sun could use a new buyer. And we're going to have to see if that can happen. Because no team, no women's team, no women's professional sports basketball team should have to share a practice facility in a community center where they can't even practice full court most of the time. They're relegated to half-court practices. There are plenty of other needy franchises. The Indiana Fever is not one of those franchises, okay? And I will put this information in here on this practice facility so you can see it. There's a couple of articles. One is from Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and the other, I believe, is from the Indy Star. But I will put these in here, and they will give you all the details of what the plan is and all of that stuff. And it makes sense to me. Okay? This is how you treat elite players. And anybody who makes it to the pros is an elite player. This is the way you treat your employees. Okay, Lexi Hull was in an interview in one of these publications, and she was excited about it. You know, they broke ground on it. In September. Okay, it's on the site of an old jailhouse, which has been torn down, and they are now in the beginning stages of construction. It will open before the 2027 season. So that's where we are with the Indiana Fever. There is no need to sell that team to Larry Bird or anybody else. Okay, let's just let it be and enjoy Caitlin Clark. That's all we need to do. So I do have a couple of things to show you tonight. One is an Instagram post from Caitlin Clark launching some of her merchandise in a collaboration with Dick's Sporting Goods, which is now called, I believe, Dick's House of Sports. They changed their name. So let me just show you Caitlin's Instagram account. We'll take a look at that before I... Let's see if we can get some voice here. So that's kind of cool. Just a short little ditty, okay? It was dropped actually on November 1st. And it's, you know, I will tell you, when she comes back in 2026, I truly believe her merchandise will go right through the ceiling. I really do. I actually think it'll go through the ceiling the closer we get to the season. But I think once she's back on the court, her stuff is going to go crazy, okay? Particularly when they finally release her signature sneakers in 2026. There's no question about it. So I do have a couple of minutes here. I really think this video is about 8 minutes long. I keep saying I'm going to show a few minutes of these, but then I get carried away. So I do want to show this one. It's got narration in it, but it is not annoying. It is actually some of the best narration I have heard from a non-fever video, okay? So let's see if we could take a look at this. We'll look at a few minutes of this now. Make sure this is in, of course, all of this will be in the body of the video. I'm gonna go full whole hog here, as we say.
Buckets.
Clark has space, he's gonna let it fly, and she's gonna connect!
The dishing out eye-popping assists.
That one who couldn't finish, behind the back again for Clark, give her another assist in transition!
These are the greatest plays of Caitlin Clark this season.
My favorite.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
Now, to kick things off with a bang, why don't we revisit the time when CC shook her defender out of her socks with this shifty behind the back.
Surging in this third quarter. Behind the back, Clark.
So after bursting to the right, Caitlin switches gears in a flash and then attacks the rim for a smooth finish. Man, that's what you call poetry in motion. And the same thing can be said for the ridiculously insane pass she pulled against the Seattle Storm while running on the break.
Tremendous move, but we are tied right now. Clark to Samuelson, and there is...
I mean, right after clearing the board, Cece quickly races to the other end. And when she sees Samuelson leaking out, Caitlin whips a bounce pass in transition, which hits right on the money. Well, speaking of money, here's the female Chef Curry cashing it in all the way from another planet.
Look at the tie last year's winning record.
Clark from way downtown.
Damn, a logo 3 with a hand on her face? That's just unfair.
Roof up.
But playing at UConn, she is used to all of this. Oh, Caitlin Clark.
Now, in one of their matchups against the Minnesota Lynx, Cece also pulled some magical stuff like that. I mean, just check out this sick dime on top of heavy pressure.
Good length on the perimeter on Kalen. That is a tough pass. And somehow she got it in.
Despite the smothering defense, Caitlin finds a way to sneak the rock inside for the easy 2. Like, that's just pure vision and skill. Anyway, since we're talking about her skills, now it's the perfect time to showcase this play where he grilled the Mercury's defense using her steady handles.
Clark working on Cunningham, gets inside, Clark gets it to go!
I mean, behind the back, between the legs, that's a Kyrie-esque type of move right there. And because we brought up the ball-handling wizard in the conversation, I'm pretty sure that Kyrie would give Cece his stamp of approval, especially when Caitlin is pulling stuff like this out of thin air.
It's a big night here for Cunningham. She does a good job stepping in when she needs to.
Clark, she's putting up.
So, in case you didn't notice, The lady wearing 22 just pulled a sham god from her deep bag, as if she's just ballin' in Rucker Park. Now, aside from doing her defenders dirty like that, Caitlyn is also capable of destroying them in a more subtle way, like when she's flinging tough passes such as this one.
And they have been doing a great job of putting Indiana in rotation. Nice pass inside from...
See, all Caitlyn needs is a little bit of an angle to locate her target with pinpoint precision.
Clark wants to play faster. Oh, she finds a cutting Boston and the vision from...
And as amazing as that play was, it still pales in comparison to this next play, where Caitlyn forced Bridget Carlton to clean up the aisle.
Clark.
I mean, that ankle breaker was just borderline criminal, to the extent that it should have been banned, just like this bounce pass right here.
At the 4.
Clark bounce pass it, Smith again.
Once again, Caitlyn shows her elite playmaking and vision in the half-court set with that gorgeous dime. But see, CC is not just all about flashy passes and making tough baskets, because there are times that she can impact the game with her defense too.
Turns, ducks in, back Benley stays with her, blocked from behind. That push, cross-court pass. Pull, back to Clark, she will launch and bury a 3.
So after swatting away the shot, CC fires and swishes the long bomb to prove that she's far beyond a one-trick pony.
Shooting 29% from 3, gets blocked by Clark. She's got 14 blocks in her WNBA career, and it ends with...
And speaking of her two-way tendencies, here's Caitlyn once again dealing damage on both ends of the floor against the Los Angeles Sparks.
And Mitchell knocks that one away. Here comes Clark going the other way. Clark going behind the back. Oh, it's...
From picking pockets on the other end to capping it off with a nice no-look dime on the break, I mean, is there anything that this badass lady boss cannot do? And, even though it looks like she's about to turn the ball over, Caitlyn can turn a bad play into a bucket, simply because she's that darn good.
Picked up now by Dee Richards as she's into the ball game. Richards on the floor. Clark, the step back 3 just below the low.
After the ball was poked away, CC made things even more challenging by drilling a step back 3 while her defender was closing out on her. Like, that was just crazy. And speaking of crazy plays,
So we're going to stop here. I'm going to put that video in there for you guys. So tomorrow, in addition to other, highlight reels, we're going to talk about a few other things. I don't know what's going to be going on with the CBA. They have, as I've said, done a 30-day extension. They've done this before. I actually think that the last CBA negotiation, there was more than one extension. So it's been contentious now for a while. But the WNBA women have leverage now. And a lot of that is due to Caitlin Clark. There's no question about it. And I don't think anybody's denying that at this point. And if we could just step back for a minute, okay? There are jealousies, okay? Jealousy is a big thing with people, okay? This isn't a surprise. It's one of the 7 deadly sins, okay? And we all know this. And I'm going to have to say this, though. It is not, I do not believe it is the vast majority of the WNBA, okay? I really just don't. And this is not unlike what Larry Bird was treated to. It is not unlike what Michael Jordan was treated to. It wasn't. This all existed in the past. It all existed in the past. And it's existed in more sports than basketball. It is part of the game, and it is part of the game particularly when you are a generational player. They simply don't come along that frequently in sports history, okay? So people can say, that Nafisa Collier is using Caitlin Clark. She is. She's a bargaining chip. Okay? I am not getting any indication that Caitlin Clark has a problem with that. Okay? I think that many players no longer see Caitlin Clark as a threat to them, but as someone who can help them out greatly in their effort to be treated fairly and equitably in the sports world. And this is a good thing. This is exactly why Christine Brennan said a rising tide lifts all boats. Okay, that's not her statement. It's been around for a long time. But Caitlin Clark is the rising tide for all of women's sports. And it is evident when people like Annika Sorenstam and the LPGA invite her as a guest to play, as a special guest in a tournament. It's evident when people from the soccer world, the women's soccer team, come to a basketball game to exchange jerseys. Okay, especially as we are introducing women's professional soccer next. Okay, that's the next new venture. So everybody needs to understand this. Caitlin Clark is the rising tide, and she takes the good with the bad. And I actually have a video of her talking about that, and I will play that for you in tomorrow's video. You guys have a great night. I'm actually going to retreat to my pajamas, and I'm going to watch some television and try to get to sleep early tonight so I can continue my recovery. Have a great night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.